Hi, it's terrific, and this is going to be part number 2 of my Robert McCammon collection. Some people have asked to see my collection. I figured I'd break it up into different sections, and so I spent about an hour doing the video, and I figured I'd break it up into 2 parts. So I've already posted part number 1. If you're interested, check it out. Now I'm going to get to the rest of the books. For part number 2, it makes sense. 2 parts, part number 1, part number 2. And I appreciate your time. If you dig this video, or even if you don't, how about giving me some good stuff? Like and subscribe, all the different things that the kids say on the videos these days. So without any further ado, let's get on to part number 2 of my Robert McCammon collection, the world's most medium collection of Robert McCammon books. Yeah. Moving on, we've got here, He'll Come Knocking at Your Door, Cemetery Dance. This is a very small and oddly shaped book, and one of the ones that I really wanted because of the artwork on it. And this one is signed and limited. Signed and limited to 500 copies. Signed by the author and the artist. There you go. Good spot for it right now. Another little one, published at about the same time from Cemetery Dance. This is another small one. Tales from Greystone Bay. And this one is also a signed limited version of this book. 257 of 500 copies. Signed by our friend and author, Robert McCammon. Let's see what we got here. Next up is a limited edition copy of The Border. The Border from Subterranean Press. And there's our slipcase. For those of you who like to put them on the shelves the wrong way, this one would be good to put in the wrong way. But it's never good to put them in the wrong way. They go the right way. Spine out, fellas. Spine out, folks. Folks, people. Here's our artwork for our dust jacket. And again, we're back into the spot where you can't see this stuff. If I stand over here, you still can't see it. But that is the Border. This one has the glossier boards. Almost a slick, it's not slick, it's almost sticky, like freshly cleaned glass. When you rub your fingers on it, it sticks to your fingers almost. And limited to 500 copies. We've got. I'm right-handed, so I'm on the wrong side. We got quite a few pictures in this book, and I'm going to show you a few. We'll show a few. There's some really good ones in here, but we'll show you a few. Tremendous. The artwork's tremendous. See if I can get one more on display before we move on. Last one for you. There's more, but here, man, that looks cool. What do you think about that? Is that terrific or is that terrific? It's terrific, that's what I say. It's terrific. Put it back where it goes. All right, this one that I pulled out of the way, The Listener. It's one of the dust is free. They don't charge extra for dust. One of McCammon's newest standalone novels that isn't part of the Matthew Corbett series is The Listener. This one was the first release of this book by Cemetery Dance. They did a limited edition and a trade edition. This is the limited edition. The artwork was very, very disappointing for a lot of folks. The cover art for a lot of folks, and a lot of people will say that the SST version is better. I like it, but I prefer the SST art dust jacket also. The trade edition looks almost the same, but it's a lighter color is really all. So they do have a different dust jacket, and I think that's smart. If I was going to produce a limited edition and a trade edition, I would make a little bit of a difference between the two, or a lot of difference. I'd make the two different enough so that maybe some people out there will buy them both instead of just buying the better version of the two. Because when the trade and the limited look exactly the same on the shelf, why buy the trade? But if you can make them look a little bit different, some folks out there are going to buy them both, and I'm one of those dummies who might just go out there and buy them both. We haven't even gotten to our signature page yet on the listener, and already getting some artwork. Looks good. And there's a few pictures in here. I wouldn't say chock full of photos, but there are some. Check this out. This is a... Oops. What is this? What about that? Hey, almost like a black and white comic type artwork in there. It looks neat. There's another one. So a little taste of what you get with this. Let's see if I can find my signature page to show you what I got. Number 555 of 650. Signed by the author in a slip case. And see if I can put it back in without messing stuff up. Now, I mentioned already the SST version. SST is one of my favorite publishers on God's green earth out of the United Kingdom. The owner is a phenomenal fellow, takes care of his customers. The books are sweet, and the price is right for my taste. For a limited edition, you really don't get, for the price, at that price point, SST makes the absolute best limited edition books out there. So there are other publishers that are going to be a lot more expensive, that are going to use higher quality materials, more fancy materials, all sorts of exotic stuff, different, they're going to be nicer, but they're also going to be a lot more expensive. So for the price point that you're going to find the majority of limited edition books in, we're talking about, if you want to, I don't know, whatever. And that price point, that let's just say $40 to $100 range of limited edition books, really nobody beats SST right now. They're relatively new to the game, but they make really nice stuff. And here's our signature page. This one is limited to 550 numbered copies, number 275. And she don't got her Glock out, but she sure enough, don't show that to the children, folks. If you read the story, it makes a little sense to you. Terrific story. Just a couple of the images in here. See if I can find another one before I move on. These don't show up as well on the ends, so it's harder to find them just by flipping through. Harder to find them than some of the subterranean press, where you can see on the end which pages have the art and which pages don't. But very nice SST. You can see on the back, if you can see on the back, it's got some artwork on the back as well. So now I'm going to get into where it really gets funky and fiddle fart around. We got Wolf's Hour, The Hunter from the Woods. This is a sort of a series. I was driving to Fort Myers one day, Fort Myers, Florida, south on I-75. And in Brandon, there was a bookstore whose name I can't recall now. I went in there, and they had this book on the shelf. And when I opened it, or it was locked behind the shelf. When I went in there and asked them to look at it, I saw that it was autographed. This is the UK first edition hardcover version of The Wolf's Hour by Grafton, and very hard to come by and very expensive. So they came down on the price. I think they came down on the price from where they were at. I want to say $200. It's a lot of money for a trade edition hardcover, but I couldn't beat that on the internet. So I think that's what I paid for it. Maybe, I don't remember for sure. Somewhere around $200. That's what I paid for it, and I was glad to get it. Here's our cover there. Wolf's Hour. And then the Subterranean Press did a limited edition version a little later of the Wolf's Hour. And there we go. There's our dust jacket cover, Subterranean Press. The limited edition version is limited to 750 copies. Come on now, what's going on? Limited to 750 copies. And again, this one is very expensive. Sometimes I can't tell you why certain editions of certain books are so doggone expensive, but this one is. You try buying that online somewhere, and the price is way up there. Just like that UK first print hardcover. This one also has a fold out in the center, which quite frankly, I'm not going to bother showing you. Sorry. Maybe some other day I'll unfold it and show you. But that's the Wolf's Hour. One of the more expensive Robert McCammon numbered edition, non-lettered edition books that are out there. And I really can't tell you why it's so expensive. This one is a follow-up, Hunter of the Woods. It is a collection of stories. Let's see if I can find the table of contents real quick for you. Here's the table of contents. Those are the stories that are included, all with the all based basically part of the same storyline. Limited edition. This one is limited to 1,000 copies. Quite a bit more affordably priced on the secondary market than the Wolf's Hour, but still very good collection. Highly recommended. Now I'll show you what I got of Matthew Corbett. This part hurts me because there's one in here that I just can't get without paying too much for it. And I don't like paying too much for stuff. It's called Mr. Slaughter, and I'm missing it, so don't beat me up too bad. But what I do have is the first print version of this book, which was a River City trade hardcover. River City also did a limited edition hardcover, but the trade came out first. I think I've seen that there were 50,000 copies of this, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. Maybe somebody can fix me on that. This one's signed on the right page, the correct page by the author. And it's a book. The way I understand it is Robert McCammon was a horror writer, and that's what they kept expecting him to churn out. And he had a gut full of writing that kind of stuff, and decided he wanted to write something else. So he was writing this book. I don't think he was planning on it being a series at first. Maybe he did. The ending kind of indicates he had more plans. But anyway, he wrote this Matthew Corbett book. A 20-year-old, 1699, whatever, for a magistrate, where he would write down everything that they said. I forgot what it's called. Not a clerk, but he'd write down everything they said, kind of like a court reporter almost, but he'd go with this magistrate and document everything. Read it back to him if he had any questions during hearings and things like that. But it had nothing to do with horror, and apparently no publishers wanted anything to do with it. And so it took, after years and years and years of doing his own thing and not really publishing anything, he got a publisher, River City, to publish the book. And I think that publisher went belly up. I don't think they exist anymore. They got a website, and I'm going to warn you, their website, you can go buy this book right now, and you can pay with PayPal, and the payment goes through, and you'll never get the book. So don't do that. If you do, at the very least, you can dispute it with PayPal once you figured out you messed up. And eventually PayPal will say River City never responds to our inquiries, and they'll refund you the money back. But anyway, I bought this on the secondary market, and I'm glad to. If I had to pick 3 books in my entire collection of all the books I own, if I had to pick 3 books that I had to take with me and leave all the rest, this would be one of the 3. And this, because I love the story so much, and this is a limited edition version of it. And it's not, you talk about quality, I'll say I like it, but the binding is not, it's not the highest quality of binding in there. But anyway, I like it. It's going to sit on my shelf, and I'm not going to read it, so it should hold up forever. There's no dust jacket as issued. A leather-ish cover, and that's our front. The signature page, you notice it doesn't tell you how many there are, and there's a lot of conjecture about how many there are out there. I've read a number, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But it's to me it's a very important book, and it looks good, and that's why it matters so much to me. I love the story. And this is an important it's the first signed limited edition version of that book. So, like I said, it'd probably be the 3 physical, on my shelves, all the shelves over there too, the 3 physical books that I care most about. This would be one of the 3 probably. Queen of Bedlam. This one first also came out in a trade edition hardcover by Pocket Books, and feel that. It's extremely lightweight. Usually in books, lightweight doesn't mean high quality. It's a thick book with a lot of pages. This one here has 645-ish pages in here. And it's very light. It's made to be read and not made to be the best around, but that's what we got with Pocket Books. The artwork is very, very not exciting at all. They didn't put a whole lot of effort into cover artwork at this point in their publishing systems, but that's a first print signed by the author on the title page. Let's see, did I already show you the full number line there at the bottom? And that's that. That was the first release of The Queen of Bedlam, which was a follow-up to Speaks the Nightbird, Book 2 in the Matthew Corbett series. This is the limited edition version. It came way later. For a long time, this was the only hardcover version of that book. This one came way later. Subterranean Press published some of these others. I think they published maybe all the others, and then they went back and did this one, I believe, if you look at the dates. While I'm gone, don't do that. Don't do that. While I'm gone, look at your own books. Look at your own books. Or go online. Hunter Goatley on Robert McCammon's website. If you find it, has a complete bibliography with all the stuff, all the versions of all the books. It's phenomenal. But look that up. If you care, definitely hit that website and hit it up. Here's our more higher quality boards for covers, book cover version of Subterranean Press. And I showed you this one had a slipcase. This one is limited. Lucky number 13 out of 374 copies. And for those of you who like to put your books on the shelf the wrong way, this one has you hooked up. You don't have to guess what that is on the shelf because it's got the title and the author and all that stuff on the wrong side of the slipcase. Coming to an end. This video is way too long. What do you say? Way too long. Providence Writer. And I told you already I'm missing Mr. Slaughter. I hope to remedy that one day. Good for the folks that like to put the books on the shelf the wrong way. And it's a little bit tight. Let's see if I can get my book out. I put these Broad Arts on all of them. And occasionally that'll make for a tight fit. In a book. And the artwork on these Subterranean Press Matthew Corbett books on the covers are all very similar. Similar theme with different objects in it. There's our end papers. Looks good, looks good. This one's lucky number 11. I have lucky number 13 and lucky number 11. 474. Signed by the author. There is a little bit of artwork in here. And let's see if I got what it takes to find it before I give up and move on. A little bit. Here's one. Because it looks so cool, it's worth the effort. One of them. So Matthew Corbett, if you think of a young Sherlock Holmes, I think he's a Londoner, but he's in the colonies. United States before it was the United States. And every book is a different adventure. And you have some recurring characters that will show up throughout. He's got another one coming out pretty soon. I can't remember the name of it. Another version. And I think it's supposed to be the next to last. So there might be 2 more books coming out in this series. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. It ain't the first time. And like I said before, you kind of see similar themes to the covers of these books. They got different stuff in them, but a similar idea. You can tell they're part of a series. Here's our end paper, The River of Souls, a map of the River of Souls. And this one is limited 474, signed by the author. Would you like to see the limitation page? Signed by the author. There we go. All right, we're coming to the end. We're almost there, the home stretch of what I got, and I'm missing a lot. How about that? That's what I got. I'm missing a lot. Freedom of the Mask. This is another thick one. It's thick like Queen of Bedlam. And our slipcase is nice. This would be the last of them that I have published by Subterranean Press before he moves on to Cemetery Dance. I like that cover. Very nice. Here's our artwork for the end papers. Our signature page, this one also numbered 474, numbered to 474, signed by the author. You kids out there might not know what a broken record sounds like, but sometimes I feel like a broken record. And Cardinal Black, the most recently published Free Dust, most recently published Matthew Corbett book, and this one was the first edition, first version of it by Cemetery Dance. One of the good things about Cemetery Dance is a different publisher, but they kept a lot of the same themes, so sitting on the shelf, it fits pretty well with the Subterranean Press versions of this story. The dust jacket artwork, it does vary a little bit, but on the shelf it looks good. On the shelf it looks a lot more similar. So there's our dust jacket artwork. The book itself. Our signature page. There was a Cemetery Dance also had a trade edition version of this book. I think it looked exactly the same, only it didn't have a slipcase and it didn't have a signature page. I don't own it, but I believe it looks the same on the shelf. This one is limited to 474 copies, just like the Subterranean Press version. Now here's where it gets interesting. Cemetery Dance did a limited edition version of this book in the United States. This one here. And then a little later, SST did another limited edition version of this book in the UK. And this one might not show up so good on my video, but the slipcase is silk. The book is silk. It looks so nice. If I'm going to fawn and fondle and slobber all over a book on my shelves, this one is it. It doesn't look that great on the pictures, but when you get this book in your hands, it boggles the mind. It is nice. Silk. This is silk. It's a little bit of a satiny. You get the light glistening on it just right. You can see. I don't know if that's working for you or not, but it looks so nice. This is one of my very favorites. And to me, it fits in line a lot. Not exactly, but it fits a lot in line with our River City limited edition. So it's SST. Comes when you order from SST, you get a little personal note, typically from Paul Fry, owner of the company. Please find and enclose your Cardinal Black card. Oh, that's the second one. That's another story here. This one came with this book. I don't know why I got them mixed up. Thank you so much for your order, which is enclosed. I really hope you enjoy it. Take care, Paul. You get a bookmark. You get a little personal touch letter along with it. And we'll set that aside for a reason here. But we'll see our end papers, red and black artwork, our signature page. This one is limited to 474 copies, signed by the author and signed by artist Ben Baldwin. And it's got a lot of artwork. SST books may have a lot of artwork. A lot of them do. But it's got a lot of artwork in there. Kind of gives you an idea of what we're talking about in this series. SST is absolutely one of my very favorite publishers. I buy books from SST from authors that I've never even read or even heard of before, that I ordinarily never would have even considered, just because SST published them and they made a book that looks so good. That's how much I like these folks. And let's put this one up. One of my favorite Robert McCammon books right here. Now that one talked about a jacket which is enclosed. This book, in the lettered state, in the numbered state, it comes just like you see here. In the lettered state, it came with a dust jacket. So I sent an email to Paul Fry saying, do you have any extra dust jackets for the lettered edition books? I'd like to buy one. And this guy said he sent me an email back saying it's en route. And I said, well, how much? And he said, don't worry about it. So I said, well, how much? At least let me pay for the shipping. You got to ship that from the United Kingdom to Florida. It costs money. And he said, forget about it. He didn't want to get paid at all. So he sent me this dust jacket for the lettered state, which I put in Brodart. Sent me that dust jacket. So I went and bought another numbered edition book. Exact same book. This one is number, let's see what number this one is. This one's number 409. I went and bought another numbered edition book to put this dust jacket on because I love the way it looks. So that's why I have a numbered edition of this book with a dust jacket that was for the lettered edition of this book. There's nothing on the spine there, and that's a neat thing to have from time to time. I wouldn't want every book that way, but sometimes when you get the rare oddball with nothing on the spine, it's nice. And then the very last one I got on here, nothing to write home about, just a go to heck first edition, first print, crappy condition version of Stinger. I was going to read it and just haven't gotten around to it yet. This one is the first print. I love the artwork on Stinger. So that's what I got for Robert McCammon. One of my favorite authors, he's now become a diverse author. And whatever you've been told, whatever you believe, give it a read and you're going to dig it. Swan Song is not going to be for everybody, but it's going to be for a lot of people. Boy's Life, I think, is going to be for a lot of people. And if you give it a chance, this Matthew Corbett series will knock your socks off. Awesome. I almost said a bad word there. Ooh, got myself in trouble. But anyway, I strongly recommend the author. Check it out. Thanks for your time. If you've stayed all this time, 57 plus minutes, what's wrong with you? Ain't you got nothing better to do? Anyway, I'm sorry. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. The kids say smash the like button. That's all I got to say. No more lies to tell. C'est la vie, baby.